Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 5, and today we're taking a look at the 2018 Audi TT RS. Now this is part of the third generation that has been in production since 2014. It's the second version of this third generation that we have on this game, as we also have the TTS version. But yeah, this is basically a more extreme version of that car, and yeah, it's also the fifth version of a TT that we've had across Forza games. We also have the previous generation TTRS on this game, and we've had a more standard version of the second generation on previous Forza games, and we also had one from the first generation as well. So yeah, it's been about time that we've had a more modern and more powerful version of the current Audi TT on a Forza game, and yeah, this is a pretty formidable car, and it's easily my favourite version of the TT that we've ever had on a Forza game as well. As yeah, this version of the third generation has the biggest engine, the most power, and it's the only variant with the 7-speed S-tronic automatic gearbox, so it's got lightning fast gear changes to make the most of its power and torque, and yeah, I really do like the design of this car. Obviously the side profile is pretty much the same as previous Audi TTs, but yeah, it just generally looks better. It's got extra design details, you know, you got a really nice spoiler on the back, two fat exhausts on the rear, and yeah, really rather nice front fascia with the nice splitter there at the bottom. The only things about it that I don't like really are, one, it's got a fake manual gearbox. As you can see, it's got a gear lever which it really does not need. It's an automatic at the end of the day, so all that is doing is putting it in drive or neutral or reverse or whatever, when yeah, there's no reason to make it look like a manual gearbox at all. Just, you know, go with the fact that it's a you know, an automatic flappy paddle gearbox. And yeah, the fact that they've also tried to squeeze two rear seats in the back as well is also really rather stupid. It just adds weight and they're not really any use at all. But yeah, overall I do like the look of the car on the inside and out. It's got some nice design features on the inside. I like the fact that the air controls are embedded in the actual air vents themselves. You know, declutters the whole interior and just means that you're making use of space that otherwise would go to waste. And yeah, all over looks really rather nice inside. Still also quite practical in terms of boot space as well, so it's still got its hatchback, as you can see. So yeah, plenty of room in the rear there, although there would be even more room if there weren't any rear seats that you don't need. And yeah, but where this car impresses most is the engine, as it has a 2.5 litre turbocharged 5-cylinder engine producing 400 horsepower and 354 pounds-feet of torque, which is a huge amount of horsepower. It's easily one of the most powerful, you know, 5-cylinder engines ever, if not the most powerful, and definitely one of the most powerful sub-6-cylinder engines ever going as well. So yeah, it blows out the water the likes of the Mercedes A45 AMG with its, you know, 350-ish horsepower, and the Ford Focus RS with the same kind of power as well, who yeah, they have 1 cylinder less, or yeah, slightly smaller engines or whatever, but they are blown out the park by this. And yeah, all in a package that only weighs 3,306 pounds. Has Audi's legendary Quattro system to keep grip going on all wheels and keep the power where it needs to go. And yeah, like I said, it's just a combination of the best elements of maybe previous iterations, but also, you know, moving it forward enough to keep it up to date. And yeah, 400 horsepower is nothing to sniff at whatsoever. And yeah, that's 90 horsepower more than the TTS that we also have on this game from the same generation, and 74 pounds-feet of torque more as well. Granted, that car does weigh 253 pounds less than we do, but you know, you can't argue with 90 extra horsepower at the end of the day and that lightning fast gearbox. So yeah, let's get out onto the open road and see what this car can do. Right, so here we are at the drag strip, so we're going to floor it and see how fast we can go before it hits speed camera, and then we're going to drive back and go on the test track. So yeah, as you'd expect with all-wheel drive and plenty of torque, it flies off the line, and yeah, also revs quite highly as well for a turbocharged smaller cylinder engine, smaller engine with, you know, less than 6 cylinders. Usually they're a lot lower revving to make up for the fact that it's got a big turbocharger, but they've got the high revs, but they've also got the turbocharging as well, and that's a nice balance between the two as far as I'm concerned, because yeah, like I said, sometimes engine's going to be a bit, you know, low on the RPMs just because they've got a massive turbocharger to really make up for it. But here you've got turbocharging, you've got high revs, and you've got a really nice sounding engine as well, as you'll hear when we get to the track. And yeah, with that all-wheel drive system, you've got plenty of grip, but it's not boring either. It doesn't feel like it's, you know, glued to the road. It's got grip there when you need it, and it can be fun when you want it to be as well. So let's get to the track. Look at the stats as well. So we're in A class, mid-A class, which is pretty good. And yeah, as you can see, 6.8 speed is pretty good, 6.3 handling is great, the acceleration is pretty good, the launch is excellent, and the braking is pretty good as well. And you compare this to the TTS, as you can see, it's better in pretty much every regard. Handling is probably the same purely because this has a little bit of extra weight, but because it's been, you know, beefed up in other areas, it's worked out just as well. But acceleration is better, launch is better, braking is better, and speed is better. So yeah, let's see what we can do around the track. Let you listen to the engine for a little bit as well first. As yeah, surprisingly it is a good sounding engine. I wasn't expecting it to be honest, because previous iterations of the TT haven't been great. I did kind of like the sound of the V6s that you use in the first generation, but yeah, the previous generation wasn't particularly great in terms of the noise. But I'd like to listen to it for a little bit here to see how it is. So yeah, sounds pretty good, doesn't it? And yeah, it's all in it from an engine that, you know, not many other manufacturers do or have ever done. You know, I'm struggling to think of any car manufacturer that does a 5-cylinder engine anymore. I know Volvo used to do one, but I'm not sure if they still do it anymore. And yeah, quite frankly, less than 6 cylinders and getting 400 horsepower is mightily impressive. And yeah, all results in really good acceleration times as well. 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds, and 0 to 108.6 seconds, and it goes to a top speed of 185 miles an hour, which is, yeah, pretty damn good, and no doubt about that. And yeah, all in a car that is pretty light, pretty small, and really rather quite usable on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, you can kind of see this as being like a baby 911 Turbo S, something like that, because it's got the all-wheel drive system like a Porsche does. It's got a powerful turbocharged engine. It's you know, easy to use on a day-to-day basis, just like all 911s pretty much have been. So yeah, it kind of reminds me of that, to be honest. But yeah, the acceleration times are far better than the TTS that we already have on this game. It's that's 1.7 seconds slower to 60, and it's a massive 4.2 seconds slower to 100. Granted, apparently that can do around the same kind of speed, but I guarantee it would take a lot longer to get there. So yeah, I'm mightily impressed with this car. It's the last car in the current part of the car pass. We've gone through several cars since the car pass was first updated, and yeah, this is a solid one of them. Not my favourite by any means, but it's not my least favourite either. And yeah, that's a surprise given that I've not been the biggest fan of previous Audi TT versions. So yeah, if you still haven't got the car pass, and again, I do recommend it, especially since we've got several interesting cars coming up in the next update for the car pass. We have some Chinese cars that have, yeah, getting more and more exciting as far as I'm concerned in terms of trying them out. And yeah, we've also got other vehicles as well to come as well. So yeah, plenty more excitement from this game to come in terms of new cars and new updates and all that lot. But yeah, this is still a great car, and yeah, highly recommend trying it out. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.